It's Grand Archive time.
Is that what we're going with?
Yeah. Welcome back to Recollection, talking about Grand Archive. Seven Advent Children? Okay.
All right.
How are you?
I'm great.
How are you feeling?
I am alive and well.
Woo.
I made it.
Great.
I am through the other side, as they say. I think, anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Still cough every now and again, but I think we're good. I think we made it on the other side, and I think I'm ready to jump into the week that was, the Grand Archive.
Very well.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I'm just excited to talk about last week.
All right, let's jump right into it. So, I actually was able to play at Locals last week. I finally decided to play meta, played some Lorraine.
Mm-hmm.
Did all right enough for myself. First time piloting the deck, I definitely made some errors. Definitely some lines I didn't see and saw later, and games that I definitely think were in my grasp that I just didn't get to. I did sneak into top 8 with a 3-2 record. We had 19 players.
Mm-hmm.
That's really good considering it's over a month now that we've been hosting Locals, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Or you've been hosting Locals and I've been attending.
Mm-hmm.
Over a month, and it's been awesome, and I think it's really good to see the Grand Archive community keep showing out.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. I mean, I definitely did see over. I know this is like skipping Locals real quick, but I just want to say I've been seeing that Grand Archive has been like popping off on Twitter in terms of like they have all these content creators that are like. These big content creators are saying like, I just got a box of Grand Archive. Like,
yeah, I felt bad because there was one guy and he's like, "You all probably know who I am," and I'm like, "I ain't got a clue." It was like a Magic Pro Tour.
Yeah, it was Reed Duke who, if you are into Magic at all, like at least like the competitive scene, he just won a Pro Tour in Magic. So, in Magic he's a big name.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, so I get it. Like First, when I read it, I was like, Reed Duke. That sounds familiar, but I don't know who that is. But then I was like, oh, yeah, that's the guy who just won the Pro Tour. So
okay. Well, you could tell, obviously, a lot of people didn't know who he was because of the amount of hits he got and the comments and all that stuff. So, no, that was really cool to see. I know at Locals, with 19 people, we had people from other games walking in the store, and they're like, is there an event going on? And they're like, well, it's Grand Archive Locals, and they're like,
Locals?
What's Grand Archive? And the amount of different answers that other people not playing were saying was very interesting. They're like, oh, it's this new Weeb game, like, never heard of it, but apparently it's like popping off. And other people are like, oh, it's based on like this video game in Japan, but like it never came here. And I'm like, that's news to me.
None of that's accurate.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know if that helps it or hurts it or whatever, but no, 19 people. It was a lot of fun. Lorraine took it from Amir.
Kind of a different take on Lorraine, though.
Yeah.
It's not like your typical like Crux spam shenanigans. It's like
it's very
it's creatures.
Yeah.
Or allies. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of allies.
Yeah, it's a literal formation of soldiers that just form very quickly in front of you, and if you can board wipe,
you probably have a good time.
Yeah.
If you can't.
And
I don't have a good time.
Yeah, and most people can't. And the thing is, even if you do have a board wipe, you'll do 3 damage, but some
have 4.
Some of them still survive.
And then he also has favorable wins if he happens to have
Oh, if he has favorable wins, like, good night. Like, your turn was for nothing, and then the Banner Knights come out, and then all of a sudden, everybody's hitting for 2, 3, 4. Sort of Seeking gets bonus damage.
Very reminiscent of, like, starter deck. Because, I mean, that's basically what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like starter deck plus. It's like 3 starter decks and then 4 Phalanx captains. And then, woohoo!
I don't even think Amir has, like, a Grand Crusader ring. None of that stuff. He's just like, no, Sword of Seeking. And I stab you. And I'm like, oh, that hurts, I guess. And that's what kills you. So, no, very happy for him. I think you just mentioned you went Lorraine. You got into top 8. I went 3-2 as well as Fire Eye. First game was against Amir, did not have the board wipes, so he killed me. The rest of the games, I was able to transition into level 3 very well. As soon as I hit level 3, there were 5 arcane cards. It vanished, so I'm level 8. And then all of a sudden, the light encounters just stack up, power overwhelming, and I fireball you for 37,000. So, like, I mean, that's just how Rye works.
Yeah, I mean, that's the typical combo Rye we've seen forever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this whole time. So, no, it's been super fun. It was really glad to be back. Everyone's like, AJ, you're alive. Yeah. And I was like, I'm alive.
Well, I think people still, not that they shouldn't, but I think people still, when they're like, did he have COVID? And some people like, maybe. And it's like, is he okay? Is he in the hospital? Is this so like, no, people get worried. And it's a close community. So, that being said, it was nice hearing everybody like, he's returned, and it's like, yeah, and what do you bring with him? Win Lorraine. Oh no, and
not like this.
So
I will say, by the time I was like cycling my Sword of Avarice, and they're like, yep.
Oh, here it comes.
I'll cycle Sword of Avarice, draw 2. Yep.
So I'm curious, even in your deck, because I know everyone used to play it. Now I don't see it anywhere. The sword that comes in and buffs a unit by 1 or an ally by 1.
Yep.
Does anybody play that? It always seems like Sword of Seeking. At the start.
Sword of Seeking, I think it's the nod. Just in case. I mean, it does have the ability to hit things with stealth, just in case. But I think the bigger reason is, honestly, is just because it has 2 durability and it's free.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's got 2
Sticks around
durability.
it.
Yeah. So I think that's the biggest thing going for it, is that it does have that added durability counter that you can put on it, so you can swing it twice. And again, it's free, so you can swing with like an ability and you tack on the sword if you want to, or like one of your level 2 sweeps. Mm-hmm. And you just get that extra flexibility of having another durability counter on it. Whereas the one that buffs a ally only has 1 durability counter, and it also opens you up to that ally getting hurt. So like you lose the ability anyway a lot of the time. So
okay.
Yeah.
So the only other thing I think we have on locals was that there was a huge mix of things. There were water assassins, there were fire tamers, there were water I mean, like every element for every class basically.
Which has been good so far at locals. I mean, we've seen a good spread. I will say a little bit. It seems like the people who are playing those fun things are starting to get a little frustrated. We've seen a couple people. The newer players are still excited, but sometimes when you're not playing meta and you're seeing like, oh, I'm losing again. Is it me or is it the deck? Well, sometimes it just is the deck. Like there's a reason certain things are so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's definitely room to innovate. I'm not saying this format is like 100% solved. I think Lorraine is very strong. I think Rye is a close second. Mm-hmm. And then Xander's somewhere like probably beneath those two. And if you're playing Water Xander, you have a pretty good deck, but you need to like learn to be efficient.
Oh, absolutely. I was gonna say you have to pilot it. It doesn't pilot itself, in my opinion. So.
And Fire Lorraine kind of just wins games out of nowhere. So I think that's one of those things where it's like, if I'm bringing my pet Sylvie deck, oh God, here we go. If I'm bringing my pet Sylvie deck, and I just keep getting like, I go like 1 and 4, 2 and 3. Even stealing that second game can sometimes feel like a win, but if you're trying to top 8, that can still be kind of frustrating. So. Especially if you start losing games, to like something like Erupting Rye or Arcane Rye, and you lose like basically like as if you did nothing. Lorraine punishes you for following your own game plan, because if you want to like swarm the board with your little woodland friends,
yes, critters,
you just feed level 2 Lorraine a bunch of cards. A lot of the time, so you're kind of punished for doing that. You're almost like have to keep her at bay and like force her to get to level 2. But if you do that, then you're running the risk of just getting ran over at a certain point, because you're not doing what you want to do, which is establish your board state. So it's one of those things that's just like, I think allies are in a weird place right now, and I think a lot of those ally decks are a lot of those pet decks. So you just see like people want to play like cool allies, and we don't really have that too much. So a lot of it's just like really good skills like out of Lorraine and Rye right now. Yeah.
I was actually we're gonna bring that up later, but we can lead into that part in a second.
Yeah.
But before we do that, I was gonna say like there is the wind spell with the tornadoes. I'm sorry, I forgot what it's called. But it's like remove everything, banish it, and then like your opponent draws cards for that. It's kind of silly that Lorraine doesn't banish them, but she kills everything, and then she draws cards. It's like. it is pretty nuts. And what that's leading into is something that over a couple of burritos here and there, AJ and I have discussed, is and it is kind of like what a lot of people are going back and forth on. Is Lorraine, when she hits level 2, too powerful? Should it be eroded? Because right now you can point to basically any ally and it's like, I like this one, or it fits my deck, or I like playing it, or just whatever the reason is.
Yeah.
And the immediate answer is it's an ally. You're going to feed Lorraine cards and she's going to burn your house down. And that kind of sucks. I mean, you were saying it earlier, you like fielding allies. I mean, it is a card game.
Yeah.
You should have creatures out and stuff like that, or allies. But the fact that, like, I want to play Hasty Messengers if I'm playing Fire. I want to play...
Well, the thing is, Fire has a lot of ways to counter that, right? They can kill their own stuff to draw 2. Mm-hmm. Like Cremation Ritual, I think it's called. Or they can bolt their own stuff. They have that lightning spell. I don't remember what it's called, but...
Yeah.
A lot of times when she tries to Flame Sweep, they'll at least kill one of them. So you stop her from drawing like 1 extra card. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times you kill like a Flame Rude Swordsman, so you get the floating memory anyway. Mm-hmm. So it's not like going completely negative on card advantage. And so I think, at least to your question about is Lorraine level 2 too strong or anything like that? Maybe. I mean, at first I was like, I don't know. I'm hesitant to say anything's too strong because, again, I'm not like Grandmaster over here or anything like that. Just from what I've seen both in TTS tournaments and the way certain decks perform, it's like anything that's ally based right now feels not good. Because you're just like, it's gonna get punished. And it doesn't have to be Lorraine. It also is, Rye has very efficient board clears as well, if he's playing them. So Anger the Skies deals 4 to everything. And again, that's an arcane, but a lot of times if you're a board-based
like control
thing, and they do that, and you kind of have to start from 0. Now there is like overextending, but again, if you don't develop your board, I'm mostly talking in terms of Sylvie here. I know Human Warrior is like what Amir has been playing doing pretty well with, but we also know that if we were playing best of 3, you can
that's a big thing I was going to say.
You can slide in a lot of those answers for a board because if you're net decking right now, people know that allies aren't very good in these bigger best of 3 tournaments, so you're not playing as many answers to allies. But like you can always side them in if you were playing a best of 3, which we can do at locals right now, just from time constraints and efficiencies.
It's pretty difficult. So something I was going to mention was, unfortunately, I forgot the name of the tournament, but there was like the big Discord tournament. Jimmy Lee got like top 8.
He got like 8th, I think, but still really good.
Yeah,
out of, like, a lot of people.
But I was watching his videos, and this was like a few weeks ago, and I just noticed that didn't matter who he was playing, it would be like 5 or 6 turns where there's no allies unless they could immediately like swing in, hit, and then cremate it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people I noticed were watching and they're like, nothing's happening. And I'm like, no, there is a lot happening. There's a lot of like setup, but there is nothing on the field. And then they hit level 3 and they're like, hold up. And then they start doing the huge wombo combo. And then like, that's when the game explodes and then someone's dead. Yeah. But it's kind of not appealing, I think, to new players who are trying to watch it and go, the board's empty.
You want a back and forth, right? Like imagine if something I understand is like football, right? Imagine if football was like a lot of like nothing, and then like, and I know a lot of people will joke around and say the last 2 minutes is the only part that matters, but that's only if the game's close, right? There's like a lot of plays in between, like big plays here and there, chunk plays there, and there's a push and pull, and you get a little bit of that in Grand Archive. But what I've noticed is that a lot of times it's like level 1's for setup. Level 2 is for punishing your opponent. They played allies if you're playing Lorraine. And then level 3, they just do a bunch of crap. Like, and the game's over in 1 to 2 turns. Now, that being said, to be fair to Weave to the Shore, is that they've also said that they kind of recognize this. And I'm paraphrasing here because I don't have the article in front of me, but it was the article for the Fractured Crown like design notes. And they were saying, kind of echoing what I just said. They were saying it. They were saying, like, we realize that Crux is basically it's like you get to Crux or you get to your advanced element, and the game was kind of planned around the game ends like 1 to 2 turns.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but like, what about the rest of the game? What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
It's like we're just setting that up. So,
Oh, that's. I mean, saying that, like, just hearing it does make a lot of sense. I mean, even as Rye, it's just level 1, level 2, level 3. Now I can start, like, manipulating counters and drawing cards and doing all this
Yep.
stuff. And you can do stuff along the way, but, like, if I'm playing Andrew's Fire Lorraine or anyone's Fire Lorraine, I don't have time to, like, mess around. I have to hit level 3 or else he kills me.
Right.
Even my defense measures aren't active until level 3.
right.
So I can't even like really protect myself. And I think one time I was asking you, I was like, well, I should play like what's her face, the Library Witch, and you're like, they'll just draw a card off it.
Like you draw a card, but they also draw a card.
Right. And they can just swing into it with like anything, and it doesn't, But most of the time they're going to draw a card, then they'll dungeon guide, hit level 3, and then just like murder me. Even it's a very tough.
I will say,
thing.
Library Witch has sometimes proves pretty good in the late game. After the issue to me is that game, there's like a pre-level 2 Lorraine and a post-level 2 Lorraine arc like world right now, where it's like pre-level 2. I have to get a lot of value out of my allies, otherwise like I'm just feeding Lorraine. And then after Lorraine hits level 2, then you're like, oh, I can actually like I can play now. And I might get punished. Like I might sink a couple cards in to play this creature or this ally that's like really powerful, and then they have a removal spell. That's like normal interaction in those card games that we're used to. Whereas like I feel like Lorraine, just the way she draws so many cards, and on top of that, like, we're kind of glossing over the fact that she also gets a damage buff that lingers through Dungeon Guide.
Oh yeah.
So that leads to some really explosive plays that may or may not be like. I mean, it's just that who you ask may or may not be okay, right? Where it's like,
right, yeah. I mean, the typical thing is kind of like what Andrew did, where he hits level 2, he has Sword of Seeking, so he has kind of like +3 on anything he does. Whirlwinds the board, draws X amount of cards, Dungeon Guide's level 3, so now he has +3 floating. He's now level 3, so he's awake. Then he plays like +3 and draw a card next hit, +3 and draw. And so then he swings in for like 10, draws 2 more cards, and I'm like, you're more Rye than I am. Like at
and
this
you're
point.
at level 1, I'm guessing at this point. Or maybe just hit 2.
I just hit 2, so I'm still like, yay! Pretty soon I'll like I'll
be
able
a
to
real
play
wizard
stuff. Yeah, and he's already like marched over me, and it's like, okay, so I have 1 turn to deal 28 damage. No, like it's not happening, and then it's just it's very overwhelming.
It's weird too because I've also been in games where nobody plays Dungeon Guide. I think are actually my favorite games.
Well, it certainly slows down to a gentleman's pace.
Feels like more the way the game was designed. Dungeon Guide feels like it breaks a lot of those rules. I mean, a lot of those like kind of like things we were expecting.
It's at $15 a pop, so I guess that speaks for itself. But
when it was given away as a 4 of in the Prelude packs or Prelude decks.
Yep,
that's crazy.
And just to put it out there, no, I don't like cards just being banned willy-nilly.
No, and I don't think she should be banned at all.
But just
I hope
tone it down.
I hope that Fractured Crown does something to make allies worth playing again, especially in the early game. Because if basically right now all allies do is draw cards, the ones that are mostly played, right? So like Hasty Messenger, things like that, or they have like
all the floating memory,
stuff, where it's like if it doesn't have floating memory, it doesn't say draw a card. I'm like kind of hard pressed to think of like what like Failings Captain and
the Sergeant Tactful.
Yeah, but even that draws a card. It draws a card memory.
Right into memory.
So
yep. No, it's and unfortunately, I mean, if they can overcome this, then it's great. But between like how Sylvie's kind of not making playing up to people's what they think is her potential and all this stuff, and the way allies are treated, everybody's kind of going no, and Fractured Crown, like it'll all be taken care of, and I'm like, that's a lot of pressure for a supplement set. I mean, it's only 90 cards or 92 cards or something like that. I don't think everything's just gonna get wrapped up all nice and neat.
I'd agree.
But they did, like you said, address it in the designer notes or whatever, and so
Yeah, and I mean a lot of it too. They talked about Lorraine and how much drawing in general in this game is like really huge, right? Because cards are basically all modal, right? Like you would call them in Magic, they're modal. They have more than one application, and so what I'm saying is a card is both a resource and the card that it is in this game, right? It's your mana, your memory, your how you pay reserve costs and everything. So drawing a card is stronger, I would say, in this game than in a lot of other games because it's basically it's both a resource and the card that you're drawing.
Yeah,
right? So
I agree.
So they're trying to curb some of that with like this influence mechanic. So basically, you take as many cards you have in memory and memory cards you have in hand, and that's your total influence. And a lot of the cards that are coming out now punish your opponent for having a higher influence than you. And so I think that's kind of smart. The cards that reference influence have to be good enough to matter.
Yeah.
So,
And the weird thing is, because it goes with the theme as well, but almost all of them are cleric, and we don't have a cleric yet, which is why
but they're not class bonus. They're just says cleric.
Oh, there's no.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that helps a lot. What I'm kind of telling our locals and whoever wants to talk to me is, I think the supplement set will supplement the first set. It's going to help a little, but I think when Ranger and Cleric arrive, that's when things are really going to go, okay, like we're not playing the same old Win Lorraine or Lorraine. I don't know why I said Lorraine. That's like Lorraine and Rye mix. But I think, or I'm hoping, things change drastically with 2 new classes. It's a new big set. Probably not. I think this set was too big. It's the
massive.
first set, but it is really big. I am almost 2 cases deep, and I'm still missing rares, which. But I pulled like one. I've always had dungeon guides, but any extras, which I would have hoped to pull, I think I've pulled 1 out of like 12 boxes, which is
Yeah, I'm really happy
nuts.
that those Kickstarter starter decks had 4 of them. Because
yeah.
if they didn't, I don't know how much that card would be now.
Without those, no, it'd be
that card would be
insane.
like $30-$40.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking. Like for 1.
And certain people would be like, I can't play. I can't get,
Yeah, I'm locked out. I'm priced out.
Right.
Which, for what it's worth, this game is popping off on TCG Player. I mean, it's doing really well. I've sold a few cards on there just to make up some of the early investments that I've done, like to get into the game. And I'm really excited to see like how well it's doing. I think that's awesome. Congrats to Weebs of the Shore. It seems like it's doing a lot of the work they're doing. It seems like it's really paying off. All these conventions that they've been going to, all this PR work that they've been. They're a small team and they're really trying to push their game out there, and I think they're doing a pretty good job with it. And it's starting to pay off for them, and we see it at locals. We see just under 20 is a really good number for it's not like a big event of like a
No, it's just
locals.
locals, and I know. I've watched the channel a few times. That I know, like TCG Titans did like a featured case break. I know there was TCG Player was doing like a giveaway, and it was like you go on their front page, and it was
I signed up for it.
Yeah, it was like Grand Archive, prepare your undies, and we were all like, "Woo, it's Grand Archive!" And no, it's definitely like exploding. No, it's really good. I know there is, because a lot of the people are complaining about on Discord, there's like product shortage.
Yeah, we talked about that last time.
Yeah, so I'm just hoping Fractured Crown is a bit more available, and at least with like the much smaller card set, it won't be as crazy to get everything. So,
yeah, it should be a lot easier to finish that playset of everything. If you're trying to finish a playset, or even just getting your playsets that you need of like competitive cards and everything, and getting like the foils that you want should be a little bit easier. Because again, if the foil rate hasn't changed too much, but the set is much smaller, that should help. I'm really excited to see really what's in Fractured Crown. I mean, already what we've seen, the new Merlin, that's like Lorraine Merlin. I think she's really cool. I'm kind of worried how good she is.
It reads stupid good.
So
it's like if you sit, draw a card and gain a level, and I'm like, what?
It's like every other turn you basically do that or something like that. So
yeah, do you think there'll be a card that takes away levels, like the level counters? Because you get a counter.
No, I don't think so. At least not anytime soon. I think it's more so like that's a slow ability. It's a very good ability, but it takes time. And I'm hoping that the changes they made have made it so that at least she can like do that. You know
So
what
the
I'm saying?
game
Like,
lasts long enough.
So like it matters. Where like because if like she's getting a level like every other turn, what does that even mean? Like Fire Lorraine's already like
you have 5 health left.
Like-
like big deal. Yeah, no, that's true. And because I was thinking of the current Merlin we have, it's the same thing. It's like maybe every turn you can do that, but by then like by the time she's like level 6, she's usually dead anyway. So no, that's true. Something because we were talking about like getting playsets and something. Questions for weebs. Because we were talking about earlier for the Silver League. When it comes to, I know there's like
the Path of Silver.
Yeah, the Path of Silver. I know there's like point multipliers for having playsets when you fulfill whatever the request is. For Regalia, will you need a playset? Because you were saying like you only need one for the game.
Well, it's like a playset's one.
Yeah, but I don't know if for the bonus points or whatever, if you need 4. I don't even know if you guys have ironed out all that yet, but let us know because I know Silidar reached out to you regarding a question we had last time. I think it was about like the support packs being available or something like that.
Supporter packs, and they said they were gonna. We were talking about how incredibly difficult. Oh yeah, it's good to let's talk about that just a little bit, just to because they did message me about it, and I think it's good to like kind of give an update on that. They did say the supporter packs, so the supporter packs that have all those alternate arts that were gonna be what we thought were convention exclusive. They will at least be on the merch shop or like during a merch day, which Weaves of the Shore does every so often on their Discord. They have like a merch day, and that merch day is they sell sleeves, playmats, other just random merch kind of associated with Grand Archive. And they did say the supporter packs will be available at least one time on a merch day. So that is good. It's good to know that you don't have to, you're not like missing out if you can't make any of these conventions, which I felt a lot about all these other promos where I'm like, I really want that promo, but I can't get to Canada.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like Anime North. Or
Exactly.
Yeah, and a lot of our locals, like I hate saying like this, but like the core Grand Archive players, like we were the ones who were doing the print and plays and all that.
Yeah.
We all have these deck boxes and the playmats and the sleeves, and all the new players are like, "Where do you get that? When's your store going to carry it?" I'm like,
It's a secret.
Don't know. I don't know. And then someone will be like, "It's on the Discord," and they're like, "Oh, I can just hop on there right now." And I'm like, "No, like they're gonna do it soon." They're like, "No, what's like the minute it's going up?" And I'm like, I don't know. I'm sure they'll announce it soon. I'm sure they're very busy with all the stuff going on. But did you get really angry and shake it? Either way, I am also curious if shops will eventually, like locals will eventually get basic merchandise like sleeves or
I mean maybe. I mean, it took a lot for Flesh and Blood to finally come out with like they had to partner with Dragon Shield to make all those art sleeves.
Yeah.
Like, so maybe that's something that Grand Archive could do. I mean, already there's sleeves that they sold during merch day. For character sleeves, they are some of the better sleeves I've ever held. Usually those like character shiny sleeves that you get from like other card games are like horrible, just flat out. But not Grand Archives. They're actually a pretty good quality. I still would recommend, if you like them, either only using them for your material deck or getting over sleeves or what they call character guards.
Yep.
If you're gonna main deck shuffle them, but I think they'll be fine on your material deck because you're not shuffling, you're not mashing it together.
So we were talking about the supporter packs, how they got back to us. I think that'll lead into our current experience with gold and silver packs, the current OP support for our locals.
This is like the gold and silver packs are basically the if you play Yu-Gi-Oh, the closest thing I can equate them to is an OTS pack. Basically, Weaves of the Shore provides a local game shop with, I don't know how many it is, a lot.
It's like
a
six.
box.
Each box is like 16 gold packs, and it's like 48 silver packs. That might be a little off, but going off my memory, that's what it is.
And the contents is a rare or better from the set. And you have a 50% chance at a foil in the gold packs and a 25% chance at a foil in the silver packs. But both packs have a chance at a collector rare.
That's unique to
That's
that
unique to
thing.
event packs.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of say they're like OTS packs. Very similar to, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Very similar to
You're just
OTS.
very passionate about it. That's
Very
all.
similar to OTS packs where you might get in Yu-Gi-Oh! They're called an ultimate rare.
Oh, okay.
So same basic concept. It's not a new art in Yu-Gi-Oh! But it's just like you can only get that version of it in an OTS pack.
Mm-hmm.
So very similar. And yeah, we're just going to talk about our experience with gold and silver packs so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's also kind of like the collective experience of our locals
Mm-hmm.
and feedback we get. So everybody wants gold packs. Gold packs, people open them, and it's usually a foil, and foils in this are very hard to get.
Yep.
And their worth is going up, just like we were talking about on TCG Player. On top of that, though, you may also get an SR, which is in some cases really good on its own. But usually, people open them up and they get foils. That's great. Everyone wants foils. It's trade. You can trade them if you're not into that stuff. I know in Florida, everything curls, although Grand Archive cards are doing very well on that.
That card stock is very good.
Yeah.
It's very similar to a couple other games we play with, just the thicker card stock.
Yeah.
It's good.
So everyone's happy with those. Everybody wants more. We even have a local or two who are demanding that everybody gets one. And I'm like, well...
Doesn't work that way,
Right.
unfortunately.
Now, so everyone's happy with that. The silver packs, I think at first it was like, this is a different kind of pack. It's exciting. And then they open it up and a turtle comes out. And they're like, it's a turtle. Well, that's, okay. And
It's a non-foil turtle.
yeah, and it's not very like... Now, here's the thing. You can get a foil. 1 in 4 chance.
I actually got one out of a silver pack yesterday. It was like I think it was a refurbish.
Oh, was it?
Which is the meme card all over Discord, but
But I think when you pull the foil out of a silver, everyone's like,
Oh.
oh! Like, they're so excited.
it wasn't refurbished. I'm sorry. It
What
was
was it?
a sharpening stone.
Oh,
It
yeah,
was
that's
a sharpening
right.
stone.
Yeah.
So it's not the meme, but still, it was like,
It sees just as much play, more or less. Yeah, that's right. But where we're going with that is, it is nice when you are lucky to get one of those, but like in another player's case, they pull a turtle and they're like, this is just a card. This is like bulk. And
Yep.
maybe for everyone it isn't bulk. Maybe you love turtles. Maybe you don't have that card yet. But the thing is, like, in OP and you're getting top 8 or whatever, I think people want more. Yeah. And a lot of the Grand Archive players also play Final Fantasy, and what they do is kind of like Flesh and Blood and a few other games. Every month there's a different promo, which becomes a full art. And people are like, for June, I'm going to show up a lot because I want whatever card it is. It's the card I really like. So people will make sure they show up every week, get their play set. Even if they don't do great, they just get non-foil play sets, and they're happy with it.
Yep.
This is like... I hate saying this. It's like an invitation for disappointment because they get the silver packs, and if they only got silver, they're like,
it's probably not good.
maybe I'll get like Nia or Naya.
Yeah.
But I do think that's like a 1 in...
Bajillion.
Yeah.
They said like the box itself might not even have a collector rare in it.
Right. So like...
Yeah.
Chances are very small, and just lately, at least with our locals, I think people are just like, can I just get like another booster pack? The silver packs, so I'll just give my personal take now. I don't think they hold up very well. I think most of the time you get something and you're like, I already have a play set, don't care. And like people should not be leaving behind what they get in silver packs on the tables when we clean up the store.
That's a pretty good point. I would agree with that. I think, for me, so my first thought was like, honestly, my first thought after coming back to locals was, why wasn't supporter pack 1 alternates the promos for event packs? Mm-hmm. That was like, that would have been great. Yeah. Like if you could get one of these like 20 alternate arts, and then like
and then people would trade the hell out of those because I agree.
And then on top of that, just like they did for event packs, like or supporter packs, for supporter packs where like 1 in 8 are foil, then it makes like even the rare alternate art. Mm-hmm. So like, one of the things I was worried about, like let's say they do a promo set that is like event pack 1 promos, right? And it's like 10 alternate arts. It's like 5 rares, like let's do like 6 uncommons, 4 rares, 3 supers, and then like the 3 collectors or whatever. So the point is, like, I was worried you'd eventually, because they're so far in between sets, you'd run out of like, eventually before the next event pack comes out, you'd like, all right, I got everything.
Mm-hmm.
But if you make it really hard to get the foils, at least there's still that. So you still have the same draw that I think the current event packs do, where I think the idea was that they don't want them to eventually become like outdated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just don't care. But we've already seen that, like you said. We saw players like just literally leave them as if it was draft chaff.
Yeah,
Which doesn't feel good. You know, you joined your tournament, you went 3-2, you bubble in, you're like, oh, this is great, and then you're just like, oh, it's a rare from the set that's not really, not even that it needs to be worth anything, but it doesn't even show that I did anything at the tournament.
Right. Or participated.
Yeah, it's not
extent,
special and it's not unique to that tournament. So that's just a little feedback I would give to Weebs, is that I would like to see that the event packs eventually become like just promos in some way.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can still make them chase like the collectors and the foil promo sets.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I would have really liked to see personally like the supporter packs just be the event packs. I think that would have been great. You can still make it like silver and gold. Maybe gold has a more chance for the foil. So like same exact thing.
Yeah,
just,
I agree.
And so you still have that like tier of like, I did really well at local, so I have a good chance of the foil, or I did like just enough to get in, and so I have a smaller chance for a foil. But again, you still have something that's specific to that event.
Yeah.
Like right now, there's nothing unique to a locals other than the collector rare.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Like, so
Arthur
like,
and
Nia
yeah.
and Lunette.
Yeah, Lunette, Arthur, and yeah.
So yeah, if you pull one of those, you're like, oh look, I won this locals, or I did well enough to get event packs, and I pulled this. Whereas right now, if you open event packs, there's nothing saying like I'm attending a locals. It's like you could have just bought boxes and got the same thing, but you do get a better ratio of foils, which is nice. But I would have liked to see them be specific to like the event you're doing.
Right. I mean, you could get first place every locals this month and have nothing to show for it. It's like, yeah, your foil library probably got a bit higher, but you know, I know in other games, if they have their collection binder, it's just the promos, and it's like, this is 2022, and you can see like all the cards.
It's really cool.
Yeah. It has like a little story behind it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure I'm sure it takes time to implement and all
100%.
that stuff, but like, this is just local feedback. I don't know. And maybe if they reach out, or they can explain in an article like their thought process behind why silver packs are the way they are, or I don't know. But I don't know. Those were our thoughts on that. The last thing we were going to talk about was we did a draft. The draft was very interesting. I think the timing of it is kind of difficult. I know you weren't there.
I have to ask, when you drafted, you drafted all 6 packs, right? You didn't do like the half and half?
We did the half and half. And that was mainly, there's 2 weird things that may be unique to our situation. The first thing was time. Half the players, and it was 10 out of how many draft people did we have? No, it wasn't 10. We had 13 players for draft. 7 of them had never drafted in a card game before. So we were explaining it, but with time constraints, like we had to kind of get going through it.
Yeah.
So we drafted 3. People kind of set up like what they were aiming for, and then the last 3, they just opened them and they kind of like supplemented what they were drafting. The timing was one issue. The other issue is for 13 players, we had to open like 4 boxes. Because it's 6 packs a person, 24 packs, so it's for every 4 players a box. With how limited product was, that was like that was a ton of product, and that's not even including pricing. So especially like we're pretty lucky with how much we have.
Yep.
A lot of stores have like 1 box left, and they are rationing it like crazy.
Well, and especially if they got into the game, you know, with all this hype with TCG player and everything, they finally heard about it, and now they're getting into the game. I mean,
yeah, most, if not all, distribution is completely out, including the non-official ones like ACD and distribution like that. So that was kind of a thing. Like, we can't do a draft again until the next wave. We just don't have the product for it. Other than that, everyone had a great time. I'm trying to think how the matches went. I mean, the one deck that really stood out, and it got first place, was it had 2 poison daggers in it. So you'd have 2 poison daggers, and then he's like, now you're going to die. And he would do both daggers. So everything's doing +2 damage. And, like, usually that's, like, they were dead that turn. Because Regalia is not limited.
Yep.
So it was fun seeing very weird decks with very unorthodox cards being played in what their hero was. I don't know. It was nice seeing like the double daggers and other weird stuff like that. But there also were some issues, like Tim was drafting and someone next to him took like all the level 2s. And he's like, hooray, I'm level 1, and that's it. That is as far as he's going. There was another person who didn't get any heroes. They were their crystal. And it's because people were just nabbing up the heroes. And he's like, I'm not even a class. And I'm like, welcome to draft. Like, but there's nothing I can do to fix that. I can't be like, oh, sorry, which hero would you like? Like, because that screws with it. That's,
I wonder if there should be... Force of Will had draft 2. And I'm trying to think of, like, they had, like... And they're... In Force of Will, the class doesn't really... There's no class, I think. But, like, the typing kind of matters, and the fact that all the heroes have, like, abilities. They were called, what were they called? I don't remember. But you're basically, like, your hero. Like, the person you were.
Okay.
Or whatever. And they had, like, a level... they had like a hero that was a draft hero.
Oh, specifically.
Yeah, and it like didn't have like it had like a really generic ability that was like not good. But you could play it in draft in case you didn't draft like your own ruler. That's what they're called, rulers.
Oh, okay.
You could draft your own ruler, or if you didn't draft your own ruler, you had this one. So I wonder if there should just be like a level, at least like a level 1 of each class in the set. That's just like a robot or something. Like, I'm not even like joking.
No,
like
it's just like a generic representation.
Like a training dummy.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah. Okay.
That just is like a mage or something. So at least you can be like, at least like a class bonus. And like have something to level into. So if you get almost like a cracked bauble, if you play Flesh and Blood, like, but it's a class.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't want this, but if you need it, it's like, at least you're not completely screwed.
Yeah.
It has like the lowest health pool of all of them. It should be like, if the level 1 average is like 17 or 18, just has 18 life, and there you go. And it has like, they have mage, wizard, mage. It's mage in this game. Mage, warrior, assassin, and tamer.
Yep.
There just is a level 1, like, it comes in a little draft pack or something.
Yeah. No, I think they need to
at least do that
because people were definitely panicking as the last pack was going around, and then they would open the other 3 packs and there's no hero, and they're just like, like the realization would hit them, and I'm like, you're a crystal, buddy.
Now, some of that might just be also like experience, right?
Yeah, because
like,
half of them were experienced, like they drafted in many games, and the others were like, so which direction do we go? And I'm like, we're going left this time, and then right this time. It was fun conducting the draft train. Now, I forgot what I was just going to say, but like, it had something to do with the draft, obviously. Which class do you think would be the most popular?
In draft?
Yeah.
Right now? Like if we drafted...
Like you and 7 other people, who do you think everyone would default to?
We're drafting Dawn of Ashes. I would say they would try to draft Lorraine.
Okay. Everybody went Tamer. Hard Tamer. I think they thought this format, which you couldn't just board wipe willy-nilly.
Yeah.
They're like, unleash the beasts. Like, they wanted squirrels everywhere. Everybody went nuts for Tamer.
I kind of see it, honestly. Like,
everyone wanted to do Tamer, and then they were going for that card. It's like something page where if you don't materialize, they get counters. The like female knight gets stronger and stronger if you don't materialize. Like +1/+1 every turn. Because I think without removal, they figure she's going to be a monster. Bigger, that being said, everyone's going after the same stuff. So one person, I think it was Chris. He had like level 1. level 2, both level 3, or not both level 3s. He had like all of the Tamer, all of Sylvie, a ton of regalia, and everyone else is like, where are the boots? Where's this? And it's like, nope, long gone. You should have pre-ordered them. Like, but me spectating and watching everyone do it was very interesting. I'm giggling. I'm like, they're all going through the same thing. This is not going to work out. That being said, Assassin won.
I wonder how hard it is to like. Another thing about drafting in every card game that has draft is there's like signs you can read, but because every card is like generic in a way, you can run every card in every card minus element, so minus element. But like as far as like what class is open, it's like I don't know, because like
and every you open a pack, and just because it doesn't have boots doesn't mean someone took them. It could just not have had them, so you don't know. That being said, would I draft? Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
I'd like to try it for sure.
But are we giving up 5 or 6 boxes for a draft right now? No.
That's another thing too.
Very
it's just to draft in Grand Archive. I believe it's 6 packs, right?
Yep.
So let's say those packs are sold at retail, which is like, let's just say $5, even though I know it's like between $4 and $5.
Yeah. Like we do $4.25, but it's like in that area.
So yeah, you're either saying it's between $24 and $30 in booster packs.
Yep.
That's a lot for one event. And you're not even talking about like event entry.
Right.
Like, as far as like prizing goes and everything. So
yeah, and then there's prize support and all that stuff, and then people break out their calculators like you should be informed and all that, but it's like that's half a box or close to half a box after tax and all that garbage. It's a fun experience, but like for the people who were, I'm a crystal, like they didn't get their money's worth. Oh my God. Yeah, but I think a big thing, and I kind of made it known to everyone, like we needed to try it out. Like if we're gonna really get into this game and all that, we have to.
I wonder if there's some stuff they could do in the future to try to like design drafts like with more draft in mind. Something about I don't have the answers for this, but like you still have tokens you could introduce. Like there's no tokens in Grand Archive packs, so you could make level 1 heroes a token that you just get in the back every time, something like that too.
Yeah.
Either like level 1 heroes, some common regalia or something like that. It's all just tokens, or I don't know. Just an idea to throw out there that like maybe at least again we want to avoid the I'm just a crystal.
Yeah, that was a feels bad.
Help me idle.
I think I didn't say it out loud. I hope I didn't say it out loud. Maybe I like snorted or something. But I remember everyone was there's like the post draft phase where everyone's sleeving and building their thing.
Sorting and
So you were looking at like I don't know if anyone hit level 3 Lorraine, but like the level 2 Lorraine's like 25 health, so on and so forth. And this crystal, I'm like, someone sneezes on you, you're diamond dust. But I asked a couple people, I asked Devin, and I asked, God, I don't know how I forgot his name. He's like the water assassin player in our locals, and he actually won the draft.
Alex. I mean, he's one of them. Alex,
not Alex Garcia. He's like, he arrives with Chris. They're like an hour and a half out. I don't know. He's been like a major help with like ruling and stuff. I'm very sorry. Forgot his name. But either way, it's just like he built a very interesting assassin using non-assassin cards other than the poison daggers. That was really cool to see. Just using cards that don't see play for reasons we mentioned earlier,
that's one of
stuff
the
like
reasons
that.
I like draft in general.
Yeah,
because you get to see a lot of the cards that you're forced to do the best with what you have, and sometimes what you have is not very optimal.
Right,
but
and it was just very creative. The combos of cards he was doing. I don't know how creative 2 poison daggers was, but it sure delivered because it was just like, all right, I'm gonna throw a dagger at you, 3 damage, draw a card, and I'm like, that's illegal, but it's not in draft today. The Red Zone Road card, Korhazi Courier.
Yep.
That was pinging. It would like hit for 3, discard a fire card, blow him up for 3, and I'm like, well, that's a quarter of your health.
We're going in.
Or if you're a crystal, that's like half your health. I don't know. Very fun. If you have the product for it, try it out. Hopefully soon, maybe like on that one website where you can simulate opening packs, you can do like a simulated draft. I don't know the intricacies of that.
It would be cool.
But
shout out to that person, by the way. I think it's like Pichu Fan. I think it's I don't know their actual name, but that's like their Discord handle.
Yeah.
That Sylvie page, I have some things I'd like to see updated, but overall, that's for a fan made project. That's a really well run website. So I just want to shout, as soon as you brought it up, just shout that out. How
absolutely.
great that is. It's awesome. And we thank you for that.
No, and I know that's like the go-to now. Everyone's like, I want to win. Where do I build something? And I'm like, that's where you go. Like,
for what it's worth, I'll say my biggest thing I wish they would. So in the deck builder, I wish you could just do quantities where you select cards. That's like my biggest thing is like you have to select all the cards you want, and then the next like you hit OK, and then in the next thing you go like quantities or whatever. That's like the biggest thing I want. Is like that's all.
No, that's a good suggestion. Especially when you're like, I want 4 of this, 4 of this, 4 of this, and then you add them and you're like, why do I still need 14 cards in my deck? And you're like, oh, I didn't do that. But no, much appreciated. Yeah. So I think that's gonna wrap it up.
Yep.
Thanks for all the support. We've seen the channel growing. We've seen the sub numbers go up. We love seeing that. We love seeing all the helpful comments and all that good stuff. If you are in the Central Florida region, please come out to the Haven Games. That's where we're having these locals explode. We're having a huge blast and a really good time. And we are teaching new players and all that. So like if you're new, just show up and we'll hand you some bulk. We'll get you a starter and get you going. So.
Absolutely, and thanks for having me, James, being the host again.
Oh yeah,
you're running
pleasure.
the show these days.
It was nice. Don't worry, you'll take the crown again. We'll take it next week, or actually, no, not next week.
Not next week. We have an episode that's gonna come out.
Yes, yeah, buffer.
But I'll be in another territory.
Yes, that's true. And he's not going there for vacation or anything nice. He's just going to corrupt everyone there with Grand Archive. And,
I'm just going to spread the good word of Grand Archive.
So, no, I hope you have a great time. But
that's it for us.
It's time to clock out. Thanks, everybody.